An episode begins with Sung believed he knew everything about Ryu, like when she first ride a bicycle, ran away from home, or got rejected by her seniors. Meanwhile, Ryu was looking at her old drawings when her mother asked her to take food over to Sung's house. Ryu arrived just in time for breakfast and dropped off the food, then decided to quickly say hi to Sung. To her surprise, he wasn't there. She noticed a letter on his desk and picked it up and started reading it. Just then, Sung walked in, catching her in the act. He quickly snatched the letter from her hands. Ryu quickly apologized but reminded him that he once read her letter too. Sung admitted, "I only wrote this to prank you." Things became awkward. Ryu nervously laughed and said, "You scared me before leaving." Yet, as she walked home, she wondered, was it really just a prank, or does he like me? That evening, Ryu watched videos of herself cooking and realized how happy it made her. Determined, she decided to enroll in cooking classes. On her way back, she bumped into Sung. Jung-tae invited her for tea, but Ryu, still feeling awkward, declined with an excuse. Seung added that they still had work to finish, giving her another reason to leave. Back at the office, Jung-tae couldn't hold back and teased Seung. "Why did you stay silent the whole time but suddenly speak up when Ryu was there? Just admit you like her." Seung brushed it off with a warning. "Tease me all you want, but leave Ryu out of it." Tae smirked and said, "Don't worry, I won't tease her, but maybe I'll tell her something else instead." Seung couldn't stop thinking about Jang Tae's words. Ryu excitedly shares with Mo-yum that she has joined a cooking class. Hearing this, Mo-yum's face lights up with excitement. Without wasting a moment, she calls Seung. "We're throwing a party for Ryu. You have to come." Seung responds, "I'm really busy. I don't think I can make it." Later that evening, Seung is walking home from the office when he bumps into Dan Ho, and Seung realizes Dan Ho lives close to Mo-yum's place. Dan Ho invites Seung over for a drink. They start talking over drinks. Dan Ho notices something is bothering Seung and say, "You look like you have something on your mind. Wanna talk?" Seung hesitates but eventually opens up. "There's a friend of mine. A long time ago, he had feelings for someone. He thought those feelings were gone. Seeing her again has made him confused, but now he's not so sure." "Dan Ho interested? Is she single?" Seung nods. "Yes." Dan Ho says, "Then what's the problem? Why hasn't your friend told her how he feels?" Seung sighs. "He's scared. What if it ruins their friendship?" Dan Ho says, "Look, if your friend really cares about her, he should tell her. Regret is worse than taking the chance." Moen stood behind the wall. The next morning, Ryu runs into Seung on her way to her cooking class. She says with a smile, "I'm heading to my first class today. Don't tell my parents though." Seung says, "Don't worry, I won't say a thing," adds he has a meeting and walk away. Ryu happily attend her first cooking class full of excitement. Meanwhile, Seung is heading home when he suddenly sees Ryu's dad with another woman. Shocked, he later meets Ryu's dad in the garden for a drink and carefully asks about it. Ryu's father, looking a little embarrassed, opens up about the situation and shares the full story. He pleads with Seung not to tell anyone, especially his family. Meanwhile, Ryu's mother spends time with her friends who casually warn her that her husband might be up to something because he's been coming home late. "Be careful, he might be having an affair," one friend says. Ryu's mother defends him, saying he must just be busy at the shop, but her friends add, "We heard the shop has been closing early lately." Later that evening, when she returns home, she quietly checks their bedroom and discovers a loan receipt. Her face falls in shock and worry. That night, Mo-yum runs into Dan Ho outside a small store. She teases him, saying, "Why are you out here? Shouldn't you be with your daughter?" Dan Ho replies, "She's on a school trip." However, Dan Ho ends up drinking too much, and Mo-yum has to carry him all the way to his house. She struggles but eventually leaves him outside the house. Ryu's mother angrily confronts her husband. "Why did you take a loan? And where do you go at night after closing the shop early?" Ryu's dad finally opens up. "Some people pretending to be vloggers came to the shop. Their expensive watches got damaged when food spilled on them. Those people started threatening me to pay for the damage, so I've been working extra jobs at night to cover the cost." Hearing the truth, Ryu's mother feels guilty for misunderstanding him. She realizes her husband's silence wasn't out of dishonesty. The next morning, Ryu is restless, worried about her father. Suddenly, she remembers that there's a CCTV camera installed in the shop next door. She rushes over to check the footage, but the shopkeeper tells her that Seung has already taken it. Meanwhile, Seung goes to meet the vloggers and tells them, "I'll pay for the damage, but let me see the watch first." They hand him the watch and Seung carefully examines it and says, "This looks familiar. I have the exact same watch, which I received as a gift at an awards show. Let's check the serial number. He compares the serial numbers and immediately notices something's off, and he says firmly, "This is a fake." Seung then shows them the CCTV footage, which clearly reveals one of the men deliberately breaking his own watch to trap Ryu's father. Just then, Danho arrives and warns them, "Do you know you could get arrested for this?" Panicked, the vloggers try to escape. Seung and Danho quickly chase after them. Danho quickly catches one of the men, but the other keeps running. Just as he's about to escape from Seung, Ryu appears out of nowhere and angrily starts hitting the man. The man knocks down Ryu and she hits the ground. Seung gets furious and knocks the man down. Seung rushes to Ryu and asks, "Are you okay?" worried about her bleeding nose. Before the man can escape again, Ryu's brother arrives and catches him. They hand them over to the police. Ryu thanks Seung for helping her dad and quietly asks, "Why are you avoiding me? Why can't we be like before?" Seung hesitates for a moment, then replies, "Ryu, we can't stay like before forever. Your life is different and mine is different. We need to respect each other's space." That night, Ryu lies in bed feeling hurt and confused. She can't understand how things between them turned out this way. The next day, Ryu prepares her first dish at cooking class. Nervously, she waits outside Seung's office to give it to him. When Seung sees her, he looks surprised and says, "You still remember things like this?" Ryu replies, "Of course. We've spent so many years together. How could I forget?" Then she adds, "You know, I might know more about you than your parents." Seung looks at her and says, "Do you think you know me? That was the past. Ryu, let it go and stop following me. Just leave me alone." But Ryu refuses. "No, I won't stop," and asks, "Did you ever ask for permission when you showed up at my house?" Seung's voice is sharp as he says, "Stop this, Ryu. Stop everything. I feel like I'm losing my mind because of you," and walks away, leaving her standing there in silence. Ryu recalls she knows everything about his first, like the first time he drank banana milk, the first time he swim, and even the first time he had a crush on someone, but she never knew who his first love was. And that's it for episode. If you enjoyed watching this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss next episode. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.